Hello, welcome back to Sushi Live. In this episode, I want to show you a couple of experiments I've been trying with AI and Blender. Especially in this case, I'm using Meta AI, no longer ChatGPT needed for now, but I've been trying a couple of ideas, asking Meta AI to generate Blender Python for me to generate things, like start with simple things like create a grid with cubes. So you can't, okay, it gives me something, right? So it draws me a grid with a cube inside it. But if you ask generate using Blender Python, give me code to generate grid 8 by 10 of cubes. Yeah, I could reword that a little bit better, but Meta AI actually is pretty good with Blender Python. It's not very good at creating geometry nodes yet because that's a different thing, but it's kind of interesting, right? So we get this script and I've been testing this, and so far Meta AI has been really quite consistent, with the result. So it's really interesting. Okay, it creates a grid, and it's 8 by 10, and even if you don't know how to code and if you're just starting out, you can actually learn a few basic things like this. Create a grid. Okay, it's doing a loop for x in range, so it's for that range, and then y in range, and then you can of course change the number as usual. This is pretty easy and simple, right? You get 160 cube. So you got the code, you got this. I've been testing this like with many different examples. So far it's really consistent. So this is just grid of cube, very basic. You can converse with the AI, of course. Within one conversations, you can continue. Okay, now generate cylinder with random height instead of cube. Now I'm replacing the cube with cylinder, right? So it's just super basic. You can, of course, the way you can learn from this is you can learn the code and then try to rewrite the code yourself without looking at the example. We know that the code is actually working. Create a new text, delete everything. Now we have cylinder with random height, right? Okay, this also seems to be working. I'm trying to make like 108 examples and then turn it into books or something. It's possible. I have few ideas, even though they are basics, but it's a process of learning. I want the cylinder to be placed on its base. We want cylinder on its base. So, but it's gonna give you the code. Of course, placing on the base, you need to offset based on the height. So I don't know if this is gonna work. Sometimes it fails, of course, but copy paste the error message and you might get lucky. And yeah, right. It's putting it on the base. It's kind of wrong in terms of height. I think this need to be not negative. Now we get the cylinder on its base. So all, simply by conversing with the AI, which is kind of interesting. Now instead of grid, I want the cylinder to be random in x in radius and stack on top of each other as a tower. All this can be recreated using geometry nodes, but it's going to be slightly different in terms of thinking because it's one of them is like more procedural than the other. Okay, let's go back to this. new text file, save as. Yeah, right. I have a feeling place each cylinder on each base to touch the next cylinder. See, I'm conversing with the AI, with the LLM, large language model. Sometimes you think the AI, there's like a brain, but sometimes it's just like an LLM, large language model. So I keep this one even though it's wrong. I just keep it, and in order to benefit you, of course, you gotta restudy the code. You need to study the code. This one also not giving me the proper one. It seems to be just on top of each other. Revise the code, make the cylinder sits on top of each other like a tower. Next cylinder, different radius. I think it should work. I tested with other AI, of course, like Grok AI of Twitter. There's also kind of accessible at the moment. It's free. This one, almost, right? Almost. It's not perfect. Put on the base. I think whenever I say put on the base, it does something. Okay. Still not perfect. Consider its cylinder height. Place it on the base of its boundary. Then stack the cylinder. Cylinder on top of the next one. So we need to restudy the code anyway. I'm just copy pasting, conversing with the AI. This one almost is not bad. They are still overlapping, but we got the the code that you can play around with. It's not perfect. I think, yeah, it's not perfect. There's something wrong here. Maybe this should be positive. Yeah, not exactly correct, but I have a one that's actually working before. This is, instead of cylinder, is of course just a cube with random size, which is kind of nice. So this is the code. We can study the code, of course. Let's say, okay, this is okay. One conversation. Hey, you have a code. I explain this Blender Python code. We want to understand why the code actually works. We can kind of guess. Okay, we have this variable number of cube 15. Size range. Okay, we can increase the size. The height, initial current height 0. Okay, for I in range. Let's make 22 or makes 42. Yeah, it creates the tower for us. This is you at age 42. You understand life a little bit. Okay. Right. I think it's a good code. For I in range of number of cubes, do this loop, create a primitive cube of the size 1, get context active object that's just created, and then randomize the cube scale, move the cube to the current height, align it with the base. Yeah, This is nice. Beautiful code. Breakdown of the code. BPY, get random, number of cubes, size range, current height. Yeah, it's explaining the code for you. You can, of course, like do the sushi thing, sushi generator. This is cool, right? Since we are here, I want to show more example. Eventually, it should be, I should make this into a book because it's the whole thing. I could tell it in the video, but yeah. This is a random sushi name. I don't know what's the meaning of each kanji. I can ask Meta, what is this? What's this meaning? Some of them written in katakana and also most of them in kanji and hiragana. It's a kanji name of sushi. Rearrange the 3D text instead of circular, just stack it in a row. Still the name, random sushi name. You can tell it to just use emoji, but anyhow. Yeah, it's stacking it. Instead of random sushi name, just use emoji. All right, it's creating emoji actually. Yeah, of course you can just replace the list, right? The list can be the text. We've done this before with geometry nodes, which is a little bit cooler, but this is random emoji. Delete everything, regenerate, run the code. We get random emoji. Yeah, this is Blender emoji. It's only black and white, but it's pretty good. So I like the circular arrangement. Revise the code. If you read the code, this is the list of character emoji. For every eye emoji, enumerate the emojis. Create a new curve with a font, Blender font, and then yeah. Assign material. Yeah, circular arrangement, and pretty cool. But it's generating just the text, a lot of geometry with geometry nodes. Of course, at this point, if you feel puzzled or you feel challenged, you want to recreate this using geometry nodes perhaps. So the interesting one, okay, one more is the Mokujin. Okay, this is Mokujin. I asked Meta AI to generate a robot for me, and based on Tekken Mokujin, the wooden character made of cylinder, basically, with very cool character. I asked Meta AI to create it for me. Let's see. It might not work. Right. Make using Blender Python. Make me a code to create a robot that's like Mokujin using cylinder shapes with 2 arms and 2 legs. Head, body with 2 arms and legs. basic script to create a robot like Mokujin using cylinder shapes in Blender Python. It might not work, but you know, who knows? It tries to do something for us. It's just a cylinder. Object attribute active not found. Whoa. Okay. And then it's gonna revise. Oh, I see. You are using Blender 3.x. I'm using Blender 4.1, so it's not updated for the latest Blender. So there might be the case it's not been trained for the latest Blender Python if there's a big change. Ah, see? It's like Mokujin. It's actually parented, yeah, parented to the body, and there's arm and leg. This is pretty good, right? Except for the placement of these arms and legs is not perfect. It should be like that. This is shy Mokujin. We got one Mokujin. I mean, the position of the legs and the arms, we can sort of fix it ourselves or revise the script. We can try asking the AI to make it multiple times, you know, like until it get it right with the pivot. So at the moment it's not perfect. So we need to consider the pivot and then the placement of the each legs and arm and then the height. It's possible, I think, but yeah, anyway, if you want to fix this yourself, remember this transform affect only origin. You can rearrange manually. So there's an extra manual thing that we need to do. Okay, don't forget. Oops. Yeah. Now you can animate this. Like but the proper one, of course, is to have it. Oh yeah, see the placement of the legs is not exactly centered. The better way is to have bone to drive the mesh. So with the bone you have hierarchy like this, but this is a parented object, so it's kind of already kind of cool, the AI to be able to parent this. You can read the code, rearrange the pivot. I revise the code, put the cylinder arms, legs, and head pivot to the base. So I'm kind of curious how the AI kind of understand this prompt and then try to revise the code. Maybe this still won't work, but the code keeps changing. Okay, this is a cool one, Mokujin. By the way, every prompt, the meta AI seems to have history, so whatever you ask, just be careful. Meta will knows everything. Yeah, see, it doesn't understand. Yeah, it doesn't understand that we need to put the pivot. Move the pivot of the cylinder to the base. What else? Okay, in real Mokujin, the arms and legs will have multiple, connection, so you can pose it better. Mokujin is a character of, it's a wood, like a wood robot with soul, and it can copy other characters' style of martial art. It's actually really cool character. There are multiple type of Mokujin. There's one that's made of metal, Tetsujin. But anyway, that's Tekken. Yeah. Haha. Yeah, I think it's broken. You broke the code. Please rewrite and revise. Make sure each arm leg has pivot placed on its base. It should be possible to have the the origin set to while keeping the parenting. It's like it's a basic code, but just it takes time for you to write it and to understand the code. Huh. No origin set. No wonder that's why it's not working. Oh, not valid. Give me the full code. You can download Meta AI Llama 3 8 GB or 14 GB one, so you can run it offline inside your machine, but it's not very refined, I found. Yeah, still not working. So at this point, oh, okay, the leg works. Hey, almost correct, but missing one leg. Revise the code. The leg works. As you can see, the pivot is placed on the base. The arms is still wrong. Maybe because there are other items there. But it's promising. It's promising. Copy. Paste. We have moved, strangely enough, it's back to the base. Revise the code. You miss to move the pivot to the base for legs and arm. Move pivot. Each context, get a cursor location. Of course, since we didn't go through the whenever with coding, right, we just copy paste and then we run the script and then it does everything in a second. It's not doing it step by step, and then it's better if you know every step, every procedure, and then try to revise the code that way. Actually, yeah, it's not working. Delete everything. Still not working. Yeah, but this one, this one works, which is kind of interesting. This. Nope, number 5. This. Huh. This one works. It puts the cylinder there. So this one works. It miss another leg, create another leg. Why is only creating one leg? Just make leg number 2. Rotate -45 or something. Okay. 45 -45. The placement needs to be correct, because anyhow, if I run that, I will have 2 legs. I just need to rotate it manually, and then that's actually kind of cool. Just the arm is not correct, and this is the closest. So I can understand the code anyway. So that's my main point, is that, okay, I will try to come up with hundreds of ideas like this. Maybe for the next video, it's gonna get more complicated, but the idea is there, right? You have Blender. The AI is not living in Blender yet. It's Meta AI from it's actually in Facebook, in WhatsApp, and Instagram, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, make me generate Mokujin picture alone in the forest with a deer, sunny day, butterflies. This is AI generated render composition based on what the Meta AI knows. Okay. Make the character like Mokujin, made of cylinders, wood. It's a wooden cylinder, you know. It's a living wooden character. Probably it's not gonna do it for us, but yeah, it's like a puppet. But it's trying to interpret the prompt and then it creates us this. And you can do that the same in Blender, and you can actually perhaps animate it at some point. But anyway, the Mokujin needs to have the proper pivoting and the placement of the leg. It's not perfect there. Okay, it needs to be a little bit to the back, of course. Yeah, but you got the idea. You can have the code, revise the code. You can recreate the code using geometry nodes, which is another thing. It's gonna be node based, but something to try. So with you, AI, LLM, and Blender, there's a dynamic there. If you're trying to recreate using geometry nodes or trying to study the code and then you keep the code yourself, you can create a whole scenes with the script, right? And then create your scene and make stories. Maybe you can't animate, you can tell AI to animate it for you, but it's kind of getting there, you know. But anyhow, it's just an idea. Hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.